The living hostages are freed. The living hostages are freed. What we've been praying for, waiting for, longing for has finally come to be. Shalom, my friends. This is the Kiva Gers with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. The day has finally come. Just a couple of days ago, we witnessed one of the greatest things that has happened in the history of the modern Jewish state, the state of Israel, the remaining living hostages being freed finally from barbaric Hamas captivity in the Gaza Strip. We watched as 20 hostages were finally freed from the torture and the horrific conditions that they were living in, that they were forced to live in over the past 2 years, and they were released, that they were freed, they were finally brought home just in time for Simchat Torah, for exactly 2 years since the day they were taken on October 7th, 2023, which that year was the Jewish festival, the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah. I'll tell you my own personal experience. I was in Hostages Square that day in Tel Aviv. My wife and I and her older son, we felt like we had to be there. Where else could we go that day to witness, to watch, to celebrate the releasing of the remaining living hostages from the Gaza Strip? And it was seriously one of the most powerful and meaningful experiences I have had in the 21 years I've been living here in Israel. Tens and tens of thousands of people gathered in Hostages Square. Huge screens were set up to broadcast the release of the hostages in the different stages. We didn't see the actual hostages till later, but we saw the different convoys, we saw the different IDF vehicles, and we saw them landing in a helicopter into different hospitals. It was such a powerful moment. And one of the greatest things I think I can share from that day at Hostages Square was the unity of the Israeli people, the unity of the Jewish people. Didn't matter left wing, right wing, politically, secular, religious. It didn't matter. We're all there to celebrate, all there to connect to this historic and powerful, joyous moment. It was really unbelievable. And we're just still celebrating with such joy and celebration in our hearts that finally these 20 souls who were enduring the worst of the worst are finally done with the hell that they experienced for 2 years, something we just can simply not imagine. And all kinds of stories are already coming out of the conditions of their captivity, the different things that they experienced. I'll just share a couple of things. Many of them obviously are just heartbreaking and horrific, what they had to endure with the kind of torture that they went through, both physical and emotional, psychological. But there all are also very, very inspiring stories that are coming out of just miracles, of just the strength of these individuals and how they were able to not only overcome the torture that they were forced to experience, but to survive and to survive with their souls and their minds and their hearts intact. There's one story of a soldier who basically, after he was captured as a soldier from Nahal Oz after a very, very fierce battle, and he was treated like a captured soldier, tortured even more than other hostages. And after some time in Gaza, in the tunnels, in pits, in horrible conditions, he basically demanded from his captors that he be brought different Jewish ritual items. And they actually complied eventually. They brought him tefillin. They brought him a siddur, a Jewish prayer book. And that became his lifeline. He said he prayed 3 times a day in the dark depths of the tunnels in Gaza. He prayed 3 times a day, and he just knew that he was going to survive no matter what they did to him, no matter what they told him. Right? No matter what they told him, he was going to survive. And they told him all kinds of things, him and other hostages as well, telling them that Iran bombed Israel and that there are tons of people dead and Israel has been defeated and destroyed, right? Or that their families forgot about them. No one's even thinking about them anymore. No one's rallying for their return. All kinds of things that they were told. Another hostage who was captured from the Nova Festival. He actually tried to escape at some point, and he was caught, and unfortunately, he was basically put in a small cage and tied to the ground for like a year, right? Horrible, horrible conditions. And he was basically, they tried over and over again to try to force him to convert to Islam, right? Telling him that if he did, he'd get better conditions, he'd get more food, he'd be treated better. And he refused every single time, every single time. He refused. And when he was finally freed just the other day, the first thing he did when he came home was put on tefillin, right? To put on the Jewish ritual per item of tefillin. Just so, so powerful. Another soldier who, again, like everybody else, or another hostage, I should say, who was treated in the worst conditions. Now that he's home, his mother says he just stands by the window and he just looks out the window up at the sky for hours at a time. Right? He just wants to see the blue sky, the green trees, hear the birds. Right? For him, that's freedom. Right? So they've been through so much, and at the same time, they were able to really experience both personal and even national miracles during their captivity. And now that they're home, they can finally begin their long path of recovery, reintegration into normal life with their families, their friends, their community, and their nation, the state of Israel. Thank you to all of you who never stopped praying for these past 2 years, never stopped believing that at least some of the hostages who were kept in the most horrible conditions will be returned alive. And thank God they were. All the best, my friends, and be well.